M-Sauce, Morris here. What if you made a questionable fighting game in 24 hours? Well, you'd be a moron. That's why I'm here to do it so you don't have to. I wanted to up the ante and give a fighting game a shot, but unlike my other videos, I have to model everything. I have to make the models, animations, code, bodily fluids, and shame all from scratch, and I only have 24 hours to do it. Why 24 hours? I mean, I don't know. It's a nice number. Sounds fun. Time on this earth is short, man. You gotta make it count. So I woke up at 5:37 p.m. on a Monday and thought, wow, what a better time to do this than now. So for the first 15 minutes or so, I planned. And quickly. The best part about this challenge is it's not supposed to be perfect and I don't have to spend time making things look good. The bad part is, timer go down fast. I just drew out the characters and stages on paper to solidify the things floating around in my head, and then I hopped on my computer and started prototyping the fundamentals. I started by rigging up this super basic input system to these beans and got them jumping and moving around. Now the controls are just about the most unintuitive, yet also convenient thing that I came up with. You have 4 directional inputs mapped to the keyboard, and then you have a primary and secondary attack on the left and right of the moving inputs. Depending on what direction you're holding or if you're in the air or on the ground, you'll perform a different attack. Here's a list of each of the unique attacks. After getting a basic implementation going, I was about 2 hours in, and I knew modeling and animating the characters would take up a good chunk of time and my willpower, so that's what I did next. But who are the characters that I came up with? I wanted to design characters to be quick and easy to work with, and ended up with Bean Man, not just your average Unity capsule. Cactus King, I don't know, he kind of looked like a cactus with his arms. The Cubed Crusader, I don't really know what he's crusading, but hey, alliteration always sounds cool. And lastly, Bill. Now the extent of my modeling experience is YouTube tutorials and not a lot of hours clocked into Blender, so I didn't really know how these models would actually come out. I was just kind of hoping they didn't come out like this. Yeah, this is a drawing of Spider-Man when I was 4. You can really tell I tried with the red and the blue. I mean, the hands still give me nightmares to this day, but anyways. I opened Blender and just started freehanding based on the sketches I drew earlier. I rigged each of the characters up in Blender, and then came the semi-time-consuming part of coming up with each of their attacks to follow the scheme earlier, plus generic animations like hit, jump, and all the other stuff. Well, it only took about 5 hours, but I finished modeling and rigging and animating and slowly started importing them into Unity one by one and got their basic animations playing accordingly. And that's all 4 characters. They can jump around and react to inputs accordingly. We're about 9 hours in, and I started feeling a little crunch for time because I didn't know what issues would come up, whether it be a bug in the code or a heart attack from all the energy drink to pry my eyes open long enough. So I took a quick break from the core game and worked on the main menu. Now I'll be skipping obvious features like settings, and I know what you're thinking. My computer can't handle drawing Bean Man in full HD, and that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make if it means Bean Man makes it on the big screen. So I just went bare bones and downloaded a random orange background that seemed to fit really well, and then I got a basic character and stage selection with some neat Photoshop work, resulting in a semi-decent looking menu. Oh, also I got this really cool fighting game font from Google, which I thought really just set the vibe. Okay, now onto the stages. Listen, I had 24 hours, so just hear me out. Wendy's parking lot, really just an iconic setting. Florida alleyway, who knows what goes on in there. Too bad I don't have time to write the lore. The White House, another iconic setting to coincide with the previous two. And lastly, traffic lights. The idea is that I can make Wendy's parking lot a flat map, give the Florida alleyway some platforms, and spice up the White House and traffic lights with some environmental things like obstacles so that not every map's the same. After about 40 minutes, I finished modeling Wendy's. Then I modeled the rest of the stages, pretty much just freehanding what I saw in my mind. It was about 7:15 a.m. It had been 14 hours since I started, and I felt a wave of tiredness hit me. So I ate a bit, drank a Red Bull to either reach a new world record for heartbeats per minute or reach heaven. Or both. And got right back to work. Not sponsored by Red Bull, but if you guys want to sponsor me, then I'm just going to buy more Red Bull, so it's a win-win for both of us. So now that I've got the artistic direction out of the way, I really just need to solidify the fighting mechanics, and that'll be the last of the challenging part of this challenge. I started off adding a heads-up display for each player, which was 4 lives and a damage meter. The more damage you take, the further back you'll be sent, because I find this much more enjoyable and balanced than a health bar, because yes, this game is just the epitome of balanced and fair. You just take the knockback force of an attack and multiply it by their current damage of the player, and you have a working damage system, which is literally just multiplication. I then set up red walls, which act as triggers, and if you touch them, then you'll lose a life and respawn, which concluded the match mechanics. Oh, also I added this cool text that puts players' respective number above their head. Moving on to the attack system, I really just winged the attack system, and it ended up working out with no major bugs, which is probably a first for any programmer. Basically, you have the structure of attacks, which all have colliders, a knockback multiplier, damage, and timer values. When you press an input for an attack, it'll get the appropriate attack based on the state and activate it for the amount specified by its timer variable. If it touches a player, it'll add the damage and knock the player back by the knockback multiplier. Exhilarating gameplay. 7 out of 11.
This is yes.
So how do you make any bad game look good? Well, you'd throw a lot of post-processing and shaders on it, kind of like if you sprayed Febreze on a pile of trash and threw a bow tie on it. I mean, yeah, it's still trash, but it is looking kind of fresh, and it is smelling kind of nice, though. It's why you see so many good-looking games and then 5 minutes in realize, oh, well, this game fucking sucks. So I added post-processing, and honestly, I just kept adding effects until it looked nicer. There's no real reasoning here, and I don't even know what some of these effects do, to be honest, but it is looking a lot nicer to me. Cue the ooh-ah sound effect. Ooh. Ah. I also messed around with this cool cell shader I got for free off the asset store that gives us really nice cartoony shading. Probably most notable for Zelda Wind Waker, and it also gives us nice edge marking effect used in games like Sly Cooper, which I really like, but I didn't really have time to tweak it and get it to work properly or look good, so I just scrapped it. Now this is all cool, it's just kinda quiet and underwhelming. So I grabbed some non-copyright music off YouTube and threw it in the stages because making music is complicated and Mozart was a nerd. Well, I take that last part back. I didn't really know the guy. I mean, he was probably cool. Lastly, I needed sound effects. Sound effects are always a pain to find, especially free ones, and I always seem to end up on the weird side of the internet just looking for a half-decent sounding sound effect. So I used a program called SFXR to generate random sound effects. This program is commonly used in game jams, and it's super useful so I can get random and unique sound effects for my game without much searching or the FBI breaking my door down. It was about 3 p.m., 2 hours left. I used this time for bug fixing, touch-ups, and anything else that might go horribly wrong. I unfortunately won't have time to implement some of the features I wanted to. The two main ones being a dynamic camera that zooms in closer when the players are near and further when the players are further away.
Hey, you're a bitch. I know you're a bitch.
This would work by measuring the distance between the outermost characters and then zooming in and out based on the distance. And also items. The ideas were falling bombs, which would randomly hurt you, brass knuckles for 2 times damage, sword for extra reach, and rocks as a throwing item. That being said, I cleaned things up, tweaked stuff, and added a car to traffic lights and a UFO to the White House. They use a generic object spawner I wrote to spawn and destroy the object at a set interval. And then I compiled. Compiled.
I present to you Super Fighters.
Come on, you piece of junk. Alright, here's a demo of the past 24 hours. This is just the peak of fighting games. E3 just is not ready for this. Mom, can we have Smash Bros? Honey, we have Smash Bros at home. Smash Bros at home. Man, look at this gameplay. Shortly after this, I passed out and woke up on my front lawn thinking it was all a fever dream. There's a link to this Game Jam Massacre in the description if you want to see what 24 hours can accomplish. I actually really enjoyed this a lot, and I would definitely do something like this again. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.